Welcome back to our third part of Lyme Advise's interview with Robbie Besner of Therasage. In addition to saunas and heating pads, amongst other products, Therasage also has multiple water filtration systems that use infrared. Can you please explain how that works?
As a device developer, scientist, project manager, I'm always searching for the micro reasons why our technology works so well. I got influenced about 7 years ago when I read a book called The Fourth Phase of Water by a PhD doctor named Gerald Pollack. And he discovered in clinic that there are certain wavelengths of sunlight that actually restructure and reorder the water inside the body. In his clinical approach, he saw that all people that he looked at that had structured water in their body, they were healthy and vibrant. All the people that he saw in clinic that were sick and had pathogens, the water was not structured, which meant that they weren't getting enough sunlight. And so the natural sunlight actually restructures the water. And when I've been very fortunate because I had a chance to meet and had a private consult with Dr. Pollack. And it turns out that the same frequencies that he talks about in sunlight that restructures the water inside of you are the same frequencies that we have in all of our products. And so he gave me a big clue as to why our saunas, our infrared pads, our infrared technology works so well. And when I thought about it, I said, well, okay, hydration is a big key to health. And we're working with the same frequencies that Dr. Pollack is talking about. So let's take a look at what it would be like, or what the world would be like, if we can incorporate infrared technology to restructure the water that we put out in a water filtration system. And so I spent better part of 18 months developing 2 applications of water filters. What we do with ours that's unique, we filter out chemicals, particulates, we filter out fluorides and contaminants like chlorine, so chemical. We actually filter out, even though we don't advertise it, we do filter out a little bit of the pharmaceuticals that they're finding in our municipal waters these days. But by definition, a filter pulls things out. And I thought, wouldn't it be kind of unique if we could create a filter that pulls things out like everybody else, but also adds things back? And that's where we created a multi-layer or a multi-stage filter that basically has a layer in it that has paramagnetic materials that are earth materials, natural resources, and they generate frequencies, and one of them is the infrared frequency. So we restructure. We re-energize the water by creating what's called a vortex. And we also remineralize our water by these earth materials also have minerals in them. And so what we created was a water filtration system that we believe is the closest to the way that nature intended water to be made. Because if you think about it, what happens in nature is that the rain comes down, hits the top of the mountain, it turns into snow cap. The sun comes out, melts the snow. It creates a little stream of water trickling down. As that water's coming down, it's meandering through the stones. It's picking up minerals. It's picking up vortex and energy. And then that little stream turns into a bigger stream. It turns into a river. And then eventually it turns into an ocean. And so what I've done with really all of our devices and applications, but particularly with the water filtration, is I'm just trying to follow the playbook that nature has given us. And by re-energizing, by remineralizing, and by restructuring the water on the way out, it really gives you water that is the closest to the way nature intended it to be.
In short, what are some of the benefits of using healing frequencies of infrared with water purification?
Well, it goes back to restructuring the water. That's the most important thing, because when the water's structured, then we know that your cells, water fills all the interstitial space between cell to cell or neuron to neuron, your nerve cells. So it fills up all the gaps. If you drink a fair amount of water, you're probably 72% hydrated. Your cells, your brain is about 81% hydration or water, filled with water, and your cells are almost 98% water. And so having a good water source that's clean and having water that's structured is really the best answer. And infrared is a key to that.
What are some of the risks that are associated with drinking or bathing in tap water?
Well, let me say the first one that our tap waters, because of most of the municipalities have taken an approach that they need to use chemicals like chlorine, and fluoride to kill bacteria, even though they may do that, the way it causes havoc on the body. And so, when you're showering and when you're bathing, and just particularly in hot water, or even going into a swimming pool that has chlorine in it, you're soaking through your skin, you're absorbing all these chemicals that is causing a chemical imbalance on the inside of you, which creates a whole bunch of serious health problems. So, detoxing those chemicals out are really important, but it'd really be great if we could limit the amount of intake of all those harmful chemicals in the body. So, yeah, our world would be very different. And, outside of the U.S., if you go to Europe and you go to Asia, the different countries, they have very different views about the way the water, you get your water sources and what kinds of chemicals are being used in the water filtration systems. And so the EPA actually puts out, you can Google this and find it online, but you can actually find out, and it could come as simple as taking a simple water sample from your kitchen sink water and sending it out to be tested, or you could look at the EPA's their own studies on the water that's being distributed from your area. So it is all variances of degrees in this discussion. Like my son, for instance, he lives in a organic farm in the middle of Michigan, and he's drinking not municipal water, but well water that's riddled with heavy metals. So understanding what you're taking in your body is a key to your overall health. And because water is such an important discussion, it's super important for people to understand what kind of water they're drinking. And so, testing, there are some waters that are better than others, but generally speaking, municipal water, just tap water, is riddled with chemicals. By law, they're supposed to be riddled with chemicals. So,
does the purity of water, whether it be through consumption or in bathing, make a difference between someone with Lyme disease compared to someone without?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that I'd answer the same way whether you had Lyme or not. But because the Lyme patient, is hypersensitive in many other ways, what we're looking to do is to create a healthy living platform, not just to manage their current health challenge, but for, moving forward. So they step forward, in a healthy position, and having good filtered water is important for all of us, but super important for the Lyme patient, because we're looking to try to recruit all these natural resources to help the body build a natural platform for healing. And water, having a good pure water source is important in its own right. But the converse, a water source that's riddled with chemicals, is not only not hydrating you properly, but it's also adding essentially a little bit more fuel to a burning fire. So it's super important to have good water.
One thing noted on the Therasage website is that hydration is very important when using the saunas because of the detoxification process. Does purified water through your products help to keep the person at a higher level of hydration?
Yes, absolutely. And structured and ordered water, or structured water, is even a higher level of hydration. So the best scenario is to get water has a vibration and actually has a frequency to it. That's why infrared is so transforms water and restructures it, because there are frequencies within the infrared spectrum that actually vibrate or resonate at the same frequency as the water inside of our bodies. That's another big revelation that we discovered. And so having a good water source, having one that resonates on a cell level with our bodies is so important to create that healthy platform.
Is there anything else that you would like to mention or touch on that I had not asked?
You did pretty well, Hannah. I think you covered most of the bases. So proud of you. I'm super happy that we had this opportunity to talk today. And I think you pretty much covered everything. But I just want to leave a little crack in the door or a light in the window that if there are some additional questions, we publish a lot of information. We develop research and white papers on applications. We're super sensitive to the Lyme community. And you guys have a main access to me and my research group through Lyme Advised. And so, if ever there are more questions or there are certain circumstances that need some additional attention, please, by all means, feel free to access us and we'll do everything we can to help you.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Robbie.
You're very welcome.